I received an email, intimate photos of my boyfriend with another woman. She even said, "You old hag, why don't you be sensible and bow out?" I asked her, "You know he has a girlfriend and you still choose to be the other woman?" She sneered at me, "You're the one who's about to be dumped, that's the real other woman." The next day, sitting in my boyfriend's car, I felt a lipstick in the storage compartment that didn't belong to me. I breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed my boyfriend really had cheated. Yesterday I received an anonymous email. Inside was a single photo and one line of text. The photo was an explicit intimate shot of a girl and my boyfriend. The line read, "I've long been with Leo. If you don't believe me, go check his passenger seat." This was a provocation. I took the photo to Leo and asked him about it. Leo saw the picture and flew into a rage. "Celia, do you really not trust me at all? Someone can just Photoshop a photo, and you accuse me of cheating?" I was just puzzled, so I went to ask him. "So who is this girl?" Leo got angrier, even throwing his car keys. "I don't know her, how would I know?" He spoke with the righteousness of someone who truly believed himself the victim. But I looked closely at the photo. Leo's little scars and mole were all there, with no sign of Photoshop. I comforted him softly, "I'm sorry, I accused you wrongly. How about a date tomorrow? I'll buy you dinner, okay?" He complained for a few words, then gradually calmed down. By today, sitting in his car, I noticed the passenger seat had been adjusted and there was a lipstick in the storage compartment, an exact shade I dislike. Only then did I become certain that the email was real. I kept my face still, opened my phone, and replied to that email. "Who are you?" The other side replied quickly, "Want to meet? You'll be seeing me very soon." Sure enough, 10 minutes later. Leo and I were in the restaurant when that girl appeared. She looked youthful and lively, her face full of collagen, and she came over smiling to greet us. "Senior brother, what a coincidence, you're eating here too." Then she turned to look at me, her crescent moon eyes full of mockery. "And who is this? Senior brother's sister?" Leo's face instantly went pale, his tone hurried. "Yeah, I brought my sister to eat." I let a meaning-laden look flick between them. The girl curled her lips in triumph. "Well, I won't disturb you too, I'll be off then. Bye-bye." She fluttered away like a triumphant little bird. I looked at Leo. "She's the woman in that photo, don't you know her?" Leo's eyes darted nervously. "She's my junior apprentice sister. I'm not close to her. Yesterday everything happened so fast. I didn't think of it." I sneered. "And then you told her I was your sister?" A flash of anger returned to Leo's eyes as he glared at me. "Celia, I just don't want to explain myself too much to someone I'm not close to. Don't make trouble out of nothing." The hand under the table clenched tightly. He was the one who'd done wrong, how could he have the nerve to blame me? Before I could lash out, his phone suddenly rang. Leo glanced at it, then stood up. "There's something at the lab, I have to go help out. I won't be staying with you." Having said that, he didn't even give me another look, he grabbed his phone and left. The waiter came over. He glanced at Leo walking away and asked me, "Ma'am, shall I serve the dishes?" This is the steak I've been longing for so long. Leo had long promised to take me to have it. But before I could taste it, he was gone. I drew a deep breath. Go up. If I don't eat it now, I might never get to eat it again. The steak smelled delicious, but no matter how wonderful the flavor, at that moment it tasted like chewing wax. Then my phone chirped. I received a new message. It was that girl again. "She's now sitting in Leo's passenger seat, bragging to me." I sent one message and he dropped everything to come. "Celia, you old woman, it's time you showed some sense and stepped aside." I touched my face, smooth and fair. "I'm only 26, am I old?" I replied to her, "You knew he had a girlfriend and you still willingly became the other woman?" She sneered, "You're the one who's about to be dumped, that's the real other woman. The only one worthy of Leo is me." Then she sent a selfie of herself kissing Leo, her eyes full of triumph. My boyfriend of 3 years looked painfully wrong to me in that moment. Not wanting to let it ruin my meal, I blocked her email. Then I opened another message. Celia, congratulations on being admitted to our university's PhD program in Computer Science, Information Security. Please register by August 10th. Reply if received. I opened the reply, typed received, thank you, and hit send. It was August 1st now, 10 days until registration. I'd been agonizing over how to bring it up with Leo. Thankfully, I didn't have to. Back home, I started packing. The apartment belonged to Leo. I hadn't been able to argue him out of it, so I moved into the spare room and paid him rent every month. In the evening, Leo came back. He looked intoxicated with springtime longing, even cheerfully listening to music, but when he saw the empty kitchen his smile faded. Celia, you didn't cook? I didn't have time. I turned to look at him. There was a distinct red mark on his neck, impossible not to notice. He awkwardly touched his neck and said, there are too many mosquitoes in the lab. I couldn't be bothered to prick his lie, so I kept packing my things. Leo finally noticed and blocked the bedroom door. You're moving out? Why? Isn't living in my house fine? It's not far from my company either. I went to the trouble of finding you a job. What are you sulking about now? He looked down at me with a patronizing air, as if chastising me for being unreasonable. Mia Sinclair is just my junior colleague. We'll be working in the same lab from now on. I need to stay on good terms with her. Celia, I'm under so much pressure. Can't you be a little more sensible? It turned out the girl's name was Mia Sinclair. If I remember correctly, Leo's doctoral advisor had the surname Sinclair. 3 months ago, as we were about to graduate with our masters, Leo told me that as a woman I didn't need to pursue further study, that a master's degree was enough. Leo's family was very wealthy. He arranged a position for me at his family's company, easy and leisurely, so I would have more time to take care of him. He himself had arranged with a professor at our university to continue on to a PhD. But he never once asked me what kind of future I actually wanted. Spending the rest of my life quietly at a small company was not my aim. I wanted to continue my studies, and Haida, 1,000 miles from Pingching, was my first choice. I passed the exams and Haida's re-examination. They have already officially released the admission list. I won't give up my future. I'm just hesitating about how to tell him this result. But now he has Mia, and she's even the doctoral advisor's daughter. Finally, I don't have to feel indebted to him anymore. Suppressing the stabbing pain from my chest, I looked at him calmly. I'm not sulking. I really have something to do today. I don't have time to cook. Leo snorted. What could you possibly want? He raised his hand, and a string of gleaming necklaces dropped from his palm. Happy 3rd anniversary. So he did remember. Today was our 3-year anniversary. With a breakup looming, I didn't want to start an argument, so I forced a smile. Thank you. I'll put it on you. Leo was overly attentive, personally fastened the necklace around my neck, studied it for a moment with obvious enjoyment, and praised, it's beautiful. Don't ever take it off again. Okay. I answered him with a faint smile. Leo curled his lips and suddenly wrapped his arms around me, lowering his head, his dark eyes fixed intently on me. He wanted to kiss me. But a selfie of him kissing Mia flashed through my mind, and I suddenly felt his mouth was a bit dirty. I turned my head, avoiding his lips. His movement halted, a flicker of confusion passing through his eyes, and the hand on my waist tightened. He asked aloud, Celia, are you avoiding me? I pried his hand away and stepped back. I'm tired. I want to rest early. Leo's face went dark. He spun on his heel and stormed out, slamming the door with such force that it echoed through the room. The next day was Monday. I got up early to go to the office. Leo had gotten me the job, but in the month since I started, I had been working earnestly. Seeing things through, I was going today to submit my resignation. But as soon as I arrived at the company, I saw a figure I didn't want to see. Mia, her hair in a bun and full of energy, followed HR into the office area. The HR spoke, this is Mia, a student interning with our company and a good friend of the CEO. Everyone, welcome her. The CEO, of course, was Leo. Mia smiled sweetly and took the initiative to greet everyone. Finally, her gaze landed on me. Senior, we're from the same school. Can I intern under you? Her smile was so sweet, yet the challenge in her eyes was utterly unchanged. I answered coldly, no. She came up to my desk, pitiful and plaintive. Senior, do you dislike me that much? Then she lowered her voice, triumphant. You're not completely stupid, you know there are places where you can't compare to me. Her tactics were childish and laughable, but effective. Colleagues nearby began speaking up for her. Celia, what's wrong with helping out your junior? Now that you've got a steady job, she wants to work properly too. Exactly, she used connections to get into the company, doesn't put in real work, and still looks down on others? Mia is cute and lively, and Celia has a sense of crisis, so she doesn't bring her along, right? The moment I entered this company, everyone knew I was brought in by Leo. They looked down on me and had been subtly and not so subtly excluding me for over a month. I understood, and I didn't care. But now, seeing the younger, prettier Mia, where had all these people's sense of justice gone? At that moment, my phone notified me, resignation approved. I curled my lips slightly and began packing my things. I'd only been here a little over a month, there weren't many personal items on my desk, just a crystal ball that Leo had given me when I first joined. Mia looked at me in confusion. Celia, what are you going to do? I smiled at her. This spot has great light and lots of space, it's perfect for you. I picked up my bag and stood. As for why I refused to take you with me. Mia, people are different. I won't teach you how to willingly sink into degradation and shamelessness. You. Mia snapped, anger flaring as her brows shot up. She pointed at me and yelled, you old hag, you're just jealous because I'm young and pretty. Calling a woman in her 20s an old woman is basically a scattershot insult at everyone present. I sneered, curling my lip. Mia, I'm only 4 years older than you, are you saying you won't live to 26? For a moment, the looks from my colleagues around me turned awkward. Mia panicked. I didn't mean it like that. Let her explain slowly. It doesn't concern me anyway. I took my things, completed the resignation formalities, and left the company. I hadn't even gotten home when I received a call from Leo. His anger practically broke through the phone and slammed into my face. He shouted so loudly my ears hurt. Celia, can you be reasonable? You quit just because I introduced Mia to the company? This is my family's company, I can put whoever I want in it. Besides, I have nothing to do with Mia. You keep making a scene, when will it ever end? I was just looking after my junior sister, and you act like this. How am I supposed to get along with my female classmates in the future? If you keep being so petty, always making a fuss, then there's no point for us to keep talking. Let's break up. He was sure I wouldn't break up. By saying harsh things now he expected me to back down. Indeed, we'd been together 3 years, and I'd tolerated him at every turn, never speaking harshly. But that didn't mean I had no bottom line. I replied brightly, fine, then let's break up. Leo on the other end of the line suddenly went silent. A long time passed, he didn't say another word. I hung up the phone immediately. This time I could finally move out of Leo's place. For the next few days I could stay with my best friend. My plane ticket was already bought, in a week I'd fly straight to Haicheng. At Leo's, I was pulling my suitcase out the door when he, having come back, blocked my way. He frowned at me. You really want to break up with me? Celia, I'm advising you, know when to stop. He wore the confident look of someone who had me figured out, half leaning against the doorframe, his body language casual, certain I wouldn't leave. As his gaze slipped down from my face to my neck, a smile creased his features. Still talking about breaking up? You're even wearing the necklace I gave you and can't bear to take it off. I touched my neck and remembered, this was the anniversary necklace he gave me yesterday. After he put it on me, I'd shoved it to the side and forgotten about it. I unfastened the chain and shoved it into his hand. Keeping it. Leo was stunned. I had already pulled my suitcase past him and stepped out the door. He came to his senses and immediately chased after me. Celia, what do you mean by this? I just said a few things to you, and you have to make a scene like this? There's nothing between me and Mia, we haven't cheated on you. Even now, he was still making excuses. His shamelessness made me laugh with anger. I stopped, took out my phone, opened the emails from the blocked list, and showed them to him one by one. The explicit intimate photos of him and Mia, their kissing selfies, and Mia's provocative threats. The one sending the photos to provoke was Mia. Just because you say it's photoshopped makes it photoshopped? Do you really think you can get away with it? You're as disgusting as Mia. Leo's face went pale. He stared dumbly, his lips twitching twice, unable to speak. I looked at him coldly. Leo, I'm resigning and breaking up with you. This isn't me throwing a tantrum, it's a notice. Please, from now on, don't bother me anymore. Leo tried to grab my hand again, but I slapped it away hard. Not wanting any further contact with him, I left and promptly blocked him on every channel. My best friend Sophie had already received my message and was waiting for me at home. She hugged me with concern. Celia, don't be sad. We'll find a good man later. All those stifling emotions piled up in my chest, heavy. I wanted to laugh, but couldn't at all. Maybe this is for the best, at least I don't have to feel indebted to him anymore. After 3 years together, I had truly given my heart to Leo. Apart from our different plans for the future, we got along very well. Before finishing my master's, I once asked him what he would do if I went to high university for a doctorate. By then Leo had already been in contact with the supervisor he has now, and he must have been involved with Mia. He joked, long distance is basically a breakup. If you go for a PhD, let's not be together. I saw a flicker of restlessness and impatience in his eyes and didn't pursue the topic. The exam still went on, and I participated in the interviews. But Leo soon lined up a job for me and threw the offer letter in front of me. Celia, you've done enough with your master's, there's no need to do a PhD. My company has a spot, take it. At the time I was busy preparing for interviews and had no energy to argue with him. To placate him and to earn a little living for the next 2 months, I went to the company on time. But I was secretly in touch with a supervisor at H University, plotting to go there for a PhD. I always felt I owed Leo something. That was, until I discovered his affair with Mia. Sophie could see the knot in my heart and changed the subject. You're leaving in a few days, you have to spend these days with me properly. Meeting her concerned gaze, I lifted a smile. All right. Over the next few days, Sophie and I had a proper local getaway. During that time Leo couldn't reach me, so he tried contacting me through other apps. Every time he messaged, I blocked whichever account he used. By now, I had blocked him across every platform. On the 5th day, he showed up at my close friend Sophie's doorstep. Sophie and I were just coming back from being out. Seeing Leo, beard unkempt, we were both a little taken aback. Leo lunged forward in one step and grabbed my shoulder. Celia, do you know I've been looking for you for 5 days? Sophie gripped her phone nervously, about to call the police. I signaled to her that she didn't need to. After all, we'd been together for 3 years, I knew Leo fairly well. I looked at him. Is there something you want? His voice was hoarse. You're really cruel, breaking up and cutting me off everywhere, giving me no chance to explain. Celia, do you hate me that much? His hand dug into my shoulder as if the next second he might pull me into his arms. The anxiety and affection in his eyes didn't look feigned. I looked at him calmly. We're finished. I don't agree, he responded immediately. When I said break up it was in anger, I didn't agree to break up with you. I shook my head helplessly. Breakups are never the result of both people negotiating. A unilateral notice is still a breakup. In short, I was breaking up with him, and whether he agreed or not didn't change the outcome. No. Leo panicked a little, forcing himself to stay calm. He pulled a ring from his pocket and suddenly dropped to one knee. Celia, I bought this ring a long time ago. I was going to wait until I finished my doctorate to propose to you, but now. I don't want to lose you. I frowned at him, his behavior felt like an insult. Who was he to assume that I would take a man who wasn't clean? Leo suddenly remembered something and hurriedly insisted, Mia and I, it's not what you think. Nothing happened between us. I only sneered. I didn't believe a single word he said. I wanted to study for a PhD with Professor Sinclair, that's why I deliberately got close to her. I only wanted her to put in a good word for me. She said she liked me and forced me to be her boyfriend, so I had no choice but to do as she said. I said flatly, those intimate photos of you, are they fake? I. Leo lowered his head and stammered a few words, then hurriedly explained, we didn't go all the way. I looked at him indifferently. Does it matter now whether it's the final step? I was really just speaking in anger. Between you and her, the only person I would ever choose is you. Leo's voice choked. Celia, I can't be without you. Oh, chosen by him, what an honor. I thought for a moment and asked him, if you don't choose Mia, what will you do about your studies? He said without hesitation, I'm dropping out. Dropping out? Leo stood up, took my hand, slipped the ring onto my middle finger, and said tenderly, Celia, these past few days I realized I really can't live without you. For you, I can give up my studies. I raised an eyebrow and looked at him in the dim light of the housing complex. The familiar face, shrouded in shadow, looked so strange. Thinking of my plane ticket, I'm leaving the day after tomorrow, I crooked my lips slightly. All right, I forgive you. Leo was delighted and immediately tried to drag me home. I shrugged off his hand and said gently, I want to play with Sophie for 2 more days. He was somewhat displeased, but still patiently instructed, then I'll pick you up that weekend. In the meantime, I'll apply to withdraw from school. As far as I knew, the withdrawal process would take several days to complete. Before he even finished the paperwork, I had already left this place and headed for Haicheng. Okay. I didn't want to waste any more time on him, so I smiled and humored him, watching him leave. He had forced the ring onto my finger. Once he was gone, I'd send it back to him. Back in the apartment, Sophie grabbed me, her eyes full of worry. Celia, you're not going to soften, are you? I shook my head. When it comes to my future, I never soften. Besides, a man who betrayed me once will do it again, I will never accept a man with a stain on him. On the weekend, Leo messaged me saying he was coming to pick me up to go home. I was already out of the subway station with my luggage. The ring had already been couriered back to him. Celia, where are you? I'm downstairs at Sophie's building. After reading his message, I turned off my phone, removed the SIM card, and put in a brand new one. Then, full of expectation, I walked into the airport. Half a month later. I was at the East Campus of the University by the sea. Outside the campus was a stretch of beach, and in my spare time I would come here for walks. Gulls cried, and the sea breeze was pleasant. Sophie was on a video call complaining to me. After you left, Leo ran around during the day, searching everyone he knew, and at night he camped outside my building every day. He went crazy looking for you. I was a little worried. He didn't bother you, did he? Sophie wrinkled her nose proudly. No way, if he dares bother me, I'll call the police. Good, at least he didn't bother my best friend. From Sophie I learned a lot about what had happened after I left. Leo did apply to drop out, but after I left he went crazy looking for me and never pushed things further. Mia, unhappy with never seeing him, went to confront him and the two parted on bad terms. She wasn't willing to let it go and pressed Leo to define their relationship, which happened to strike a nerve. They had an argument at the Liang family's company, and in a fit of anger Mia smashed the crystal ball on his desk. That crystal ball was actually a gift from Leo. When it broke, Leo flew into a rage and, in front of everyone in the office area, called Mia shameless. Their relationship hit rock bottom. After the gossip, Sophie grew a little worried. Celia, you need to be careful. Look at how obsessed Leo is with you, sooner or later he'll find out you went to Haida. The admissions list is still posted on the university website. I reassured her, it's fine. Even if he comes looking, it won't affect the final outcome. After the video call with Sophie, I opened my phone's mail. In the drafts there was a complaint email. I had put together the evidence that Leo obtained a PhD spot through his relationship with Mia. I am no saint, my gentleness is reserved for those I care about. To those who insult and humiliate me, I strike back with force. My finger pressed the send button. The email was sent successfully. 3 days later. I had just finished class and was leaving the classroom when I unexpectedly saw a figure. Leo was thin to the bone, standing in the doorway. He looked so frail, yet still made an effort to smile at me. I sighed silently in my heart. I knew he would come, but I hadn't expected it to be so soon. Leo spoke, his voice hoarse. Celia, can we talk? I frowned. There's nothing left for us to talk about. He lowered his head, obvious sorrow in his voice. Between us, did it have to come to this? Come to what? Couldn't he have seen this outcome coming? I didn't understand. Leo, you cheated. I broke up with you. This result now is the most natural ending. He snapped his head up, pleadingly defending himself. I only wanted to study for Professor Sinclair's doctorate, so I had to court Mia. I don't like her. The only one I've ever liked is you. I let out a helpless chuckle. So you still cheated? Mia insisted on being with me. It wasn't my choice. He explained it over and over, as if he were the one wronged, as if his cheating had been forced, as if being with Mia was itself an indignity. I looked at him mockingly. You could have turned her down, couldn't you? But if I refused her, I wouldn't get to do Professor Sinclair's doctorate. My grades are still a bit short. Leo's voice trailed off, his tone weakening. He was finally beginning to feel guilty. I snorted. Right, your grades are poor, you can't get into the doctorate, so you cozy up to the supervisor's daughter to curry favor. Everything was your initiative. What right do you have to say Mia seduced you? Leo pleaded with a beseeching look and walked toward me. But Celia, when I was with her, I was thinking of you the whole time. You're the only one I love. He reached out to touch me, but I dodged. Don't touch me. I find you filthy. He froze as if turned to ice, his body stiffening, pain flashing in his eyes. When he spoke again, his voice choked. Celia, we've been together for 3 years. I stared at him without expression. Yes, we'd been together for 3 years, 3 years of feelings, and when I still couldn't let go, he readily chose to betray me. I turned away. His grip tightened on my arm, and Leo still held me fast. Celia, I love you so much. I plan to marry you as soon as I graduate. How can you be so cruel? I'm not cruel, I'm just being kinder to myself. I wriggled free of his hand, and he followed, unwilling to let go. Give me one more chance, Celia. I can wait for you. At that moment, another shout came from not far away. Leo. We both turned and saw Mia, her eyes bloodshot. Tears streamed down her face in beads, her nose swollen from crying. She rushed over, grabbed Leo, and screamed hoarsely, I've been so good to you, I love you so much, why are you still hung up on that old woman? I gave her a glance, and even the last shred of pity evaporated. Leo shrugged her off. I told you from the start I was with you because of your dad. I never loved you. Mia pointed at me through her tears. I'm younger and prettier, my dad can still help you graduate, what right do you have to choose her over me? Not in the mood to enjoy their shouting match, I turned to leave. Mia aimed her attack at me again. The fact she could come to Haida for a PhD shows she was already prepared. She's long wanted to leave you. Why are you trying to keep her? Leo didn't hesitate, his tone was steady. I'm willing to wait for her for 3 years. Mia froze, helplessly meeting my eyes before quickly looking away. When she looked at Leo again, she cried out, then what am I? What am I? Her sobs drew the attention of passing classmates. Not wanting to be the center of attention, I hurriedly turned and left. Leo tried to stop me, but this time he was stopped by Mia. Even after I had gone far, I could still hear her crying out. Over and over she repeated that she loved Leo, like an immature child, stubbornly trying to snatch someone else's gift. Photos of Leo and Mia tussling were posted on the school's confession wall. It was all because Mia shouted "I love you," while Leo shouted "I love her." Everyone was buzzing, speculating what kind of battlefield that must have been, and who that her could possibly be. Fortunately, hardly anyone on campus knew these two, so they couldn't trace it back to me. For the next few days I hid in the lab running code. I didn't breathe easy until I confirmed Leo and Mia had returned to Pingching. The moment Leo got back to Pingching, the school summoned him for a meeting. And he had no choice but to admit he had used connections to get into the PhD program. Academic misconduct is a grave taboo. If a supervisor were to be exposed in such a scandal, his future promotion prospects would be effectively cut off. After Leo confessed, the school ordered his expulsion, and the processes he had stalled before could now proceed. Professor Sinclair was also investigated by the university committee, and they then uncovered that he had pulled some strings for Mia when she applied to college. Based on Mia's grades at the time, she wouldn't have gotten in. As a result, Leo was expelled, Mia's academic qualifications were voided, and Professor Sinclair was under investigation. The whole affair caused quite a stir for a while. These were all things Sophie told me. When she finished, she seethed with righteous indignation. Serves them right. Leo cheated, Mia knowingly played the third party, and now look at the outcome, they brought this on themselves. Actually, I hadn't planned to report them at first, if Mia hadn't provoked me again and again. After ending the call, I rubbed my temples and went back to studying the code. My phone rang then, it was an unfamiliar number from Pingching. I answered. A weary sigh came from the other end, and only after a long pause did someone say, "Celia. Don't hang up yet," he said. "I want to ask you, was your decision to do a PhD at High University already made before?" "Yes," I answered calmly. Before I started seeing Mia, or after, he seemed fixated on getting an answer. I smiled faintly. Does it matter whether it was before or after? It means. Leo murmured, back then you didn't know I was cheating, yet you still chose to apply to High University. You had decided to leave me all along. Yes, from the moment he said that being in a long-distance relationship was the same as breaking up, I knew we couldn't go on. No one could stand in the way of my future, not even a boyfriend of 3 years. I said lightly, between a future and you, I choose my future. Didn't you do the same, Leo? Only you're greedier, you want both. I'm just reluctant to let you go. He kept arguing. He said he had been expelled from school, his elders at home were furious and anxious, and they'd effectively kept him locked up at their company, strictly forbidding him from going out and running around. He said he would work hard from now on, with the family company supporting him, life would continue to go smoothly. He said he had completely cut things off with Mia. Late at night, he would think of the times when I was there and feel ever more that my leaving had taken a piece of his soul with it. He said he would wait for me forever, that my desk at the company would always be kept for me. Leo. I interrupted his story and asked, do you still remember that crystal ball? The one you gave me. That crystal ball was given to me by Leo on the day of graduation a few months ago. He's a straight man who doesn't know how to pick gifts, so he bought an ordinary-style crystal ball online. At the time he said, our relationship is like this crystal ball, pure and resilient. My love for you will never change, until the end of time. I like that crystal ball, not because of its price or design, but simply because it was a gift from him. Leo's voice grew heavy, that crystal ball. I know, it's broken. I said calmly. Our relationship is like that crystal ball, broken means broken. You'll never be able to put it back together, understand? When I think of him now, my heart still aches faintly, but more often I remember his betrayal and Mia's taunts. Perhaps with the passage of time, these feelings will slowly fade. Of course, that includes the affection. I understand, Leo said softly, then called my name with a catch in his throat. Celia, you must, take care. I will, of course, be fine. After saying that, I hung up. A few months later I went back to Pingching for the new year and took a short 7-day break. My mother casually mentioned, as if by accident, your ex-boyfriend came to our house to pay his respects for the new year. He brought quite a few gifts, we asked him to take them home. I think he's a nice person, and after all, you two were together for 3 years. I shot back immediately, if you think it's a pity, then divorce Dad and marry him. You brat, how can you speak like that? My mother was angry, but she shut her mouth and never mentioned the matter again. After the new year, I went to visit my master's supervisor and ran into Leo again. The supervisor sighed, back when you two were doing your masters under my name, you were a couple, so many people envied you. Who would have thought, sigh. I kept my expression unchanged and calmly poured tea for the supervisor. After all, I hadn't wronged Leo, whatever they said wouldn't affect me. As for Leo, his face was an unhealthy mix of green and white, from the look of him, he'd been listless for a long time. The master supervisor smiled at me, Celia, study hard, you have a future. I nodded, I know, teacher. The supervisor then looked at Leo, his smile fading, Leo, tell me about yourself, what crooked paths are you taking, and you end up with an anonymous complaint. Well, anyway, your family's well off, if you don't want to do a PhD, find yourself a good job. Leo lowered his head in shame, I understand, teacher. After a few more words, I stood to take my leave. I had only gone a few steps when Leo came running after me. Celia. His eyes flickered, full of hope yet somewhat timid. I'm getting married. I blinked. Congratulations. Leo gave a bitter little laugh. To Mia. I raised an eyebrow. So it turned out that after the academic misconduct scandal broke, Leo and Mia had split, but a few months later she came back, she was pregnant. She really liked Leo. Once love fogged her mind, she was willing to give up everything to marry him. She even made scenes at the Leon family's company, plastered the school confession wall with declarations, and became the joke of our alumni group. Under the pressure, Leo had no choice but to agree to reunite with her and to register their marriage as soon as possible. Mia immediately perked up, demanding a management position at the Leon company. Once in office, she made one foolish move after another, causing severe losses to the firm. At one point it even teetered on the brink of bankruptcy. Leo had a huge fight with her over it and pushed Mia to the ground, almost causing a miscarriage. Mia was convalescing in the hospital. Professor Sinclair, worried for his daughter, looked coldly on Leo and refused to lift a finger to help. Leo barely kept the company afloat, utterly exhausted. This marriage, for him, was more bitter than sweet. Leo looked down and gave a rueful smile. Maybe this is my karma. Visiting your family before the new year, I actually wanted to see you once more. Luckily I got to see you now. Seeing you again, I have no regrets. Then I can let go of everything and go get married. He spoke miserably, his tone full of reluctance, his eyes brimming with feeling. I took a step back and looked at him coldly. Mia is the one you chose. Don't make it sound as if you were forced into it. I laughed. You can lie to me, but don't lie to yourself. You say you didn't go all the way with her, so how did she get pregnant? He hung his head guiltily and mumbled, back then, I didn't want to make you sad. I stared at him without blinking. I wouldn't have been sad, Leo. It was me who reported your relationship with Mia and the backdoor PhD admissions. You? He looked up at me in shock, his mouth slightly open. I said, word by word, I would never stop for someone who betrayed me, especially you, Leo, you don't deserve my affection. A flush of crimson rose in his eyes as he stared at me in disbelief. I left him with one last line, don't bother me again, or I'll go straight to Mia. Then I strode away. Our dreams had once been the same, pursue advanced degrees, get PhDs, and make a name for ourselves. His dreams lay shattered, and even his life had been completely constrained. But mine continues. And I will leave those behind me in the dust, going farther and farther.